You're lucky. Looks like my summer vacation is over.
I always try to avoid saying something is flat out better than something else. I've rewritten this probably 20 times until I've had to accept a simple truth. Kingdom Hearts 2 is better than Kingdom Hearts 1. When we compare the major beats of each game's stories, I think it's easy to understand why. The first one holds a story with high stakes for Sora, while the sequel drives to create exciting moments for the player. Starting with the original, it's actually a pretty well-crafted narrative. It focuses on making the different worlds matter to Sora's journey in some way. They all expand on the game's existing themes of friendship, the lengths we go for those friendships, and mostly asks what the heart is capable of. Tarzan teaches you that our friends are inside of our hearts. Hercules praises Sora for the strength of his heart, while Phil seems to be confused on the matter. And even Halloween Town has Dr. Finkelstein creating a heart from scratch. Alongside these nuances to that simple question, we have an epic struggle between light and dark, and a philosophical battle discussing which of the two are most prevalent inside of people's hearts, all leading up to this climactic thematic victory.
You're wrong. I know now, without a doubt. Kingdom Hearts is light.
You'll never hear me talk trash about this game's story. The way the writers put Sora's problems inside of worlds that have existed for decades is nothing shy of masterful. But I think the sequel's departure from this mindset shows that these kinds of stories may be better suited on the big screen. You ever watch a movie and think, man, how cool would it be if I did that? Well, gaming has the unique ability to do that, which we've talked about before, but I think Kingdom Hearts 2 takes that even further with a ton of fan service.
Your Majesty?
So the game starts by acknowledging Sora's mission, that search for Riku, then sends you on a totally separate, vague journey that amounts to pretty much just defeat the nobodies.
What world could he be?
Well, we won't know till we look.
From there, you're mindlessly hopping from world to world, meeting new characters and fighting new bosses. The stories told in these worlds have nothing to do with Sora's mission. They're usually just retellings of the movies that the characters are based from. We have Simba's challenge to answer the call of his destiny to be king, Jack's boredom of Halloween, and Tron's fight against the MCP. You meddle in these worlds, find the road to the next world, and move on, like a ghost hopping from world to world saying hi to the people that he runs across.
I think it's time for us to go.
Will you be back?
We will. I promise.
If you've never played the game, I think it's easy to hear this and think, wow, that's pretty lame. But I can assure you it's quite the opposite. I'm man enough to say that I cried at Mufasa's death. And I know I'm not the only one that reveled in the thought of being able to exact my revenge on Scar. Jack Skellington literally let me save Christmas. Tron is my favorite example though. You see, in the movie, Flynn distracts the MCP so Tron can capitalize on an opening. So when you fight the MCP in the game, you have to create openings in its defenses for Tron to attack through. Of course, this is right after fighting a giant version of Sark. I love movies, so being able to actively participate in some of my favorite Disney stories is a complete dream come true.
You'd best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. For you see, tonight, you're in one.
Kingdom Hearts 2 throws away conventional storytelling wisdom to create awesome, large-scale battles involving our favorite heroes and villains. But just as the game unabashedly rips off our favorite movies, it also rips off our favorite RPGs to create some of the most exciting story and gameplay elements for anybody that's ever played specifically a Final Fantasy game. Cloud and Squall standing back to back against Countless Heartless? Yes, please.
Think you can handle this many?
Well, might be tough if one more shows up.
Cypher is the local bully, and you better believe I'm gonna pounce at the chance to teach him a lesson. And 2 words: Organization 13. I spoke a little bit last week about the cheesiness of RPGs. Square Enix knows that we eat that stuff up, and if there's a group of villain more cliched than the Organization, I haven't seen them yet. Tall, black-cloaked figures supposedly carrying no emotion. Each of their names have the letter X in them for extra danger. Despite not having any emotions, they still have distinct personalities. Personalities that shine in their unique boss fights. Just to name one, Zaldin is a cold, ruthless villain. He strikes fear into Beast of all people. Beast isn't just another damsel in distress, so a villain that makes a character as imposing as him cower his head in fear should be recognized. He's a bully. That's why he floats in the battlefield, attacking from the skies. He's literally reminding you that he's above you, and more importantly, you are below him. Not to mention he's also basically a dragoon. In film, the audience is merely a group of observers. They kind of get used to having their world totally unaffecting the world on the screen. So when that fourth wall that separates the audience and the characters are broken, it's jarring.
Jay and Silent Bob movie? Who would pay to see that?
Deadpool, for example, pulls it off effortlessly because it establishes that precedent early.
Did I leave the stove on?
When we control the character, we acknowledge that we can have a direct effect on the world. The NPCs react to our every action, and we aren't just observers. In a way, we're a part of this world. Traditional storytelling techniques don't apply anymore. Kingdom Hearts knows its audience, and after establishing that audience with a game that featured Final Fantasy and Disney characters, they saw that there's a market that enjoys the cheesiness that comes from both sides of the equation.
This is my story.
By committing to that ridiculousness, Square Enix was able to pander, for lack of a better word, to a very large, specific audience to create some of the best gameplay and storytelling experiences that have ever been seen.
While I keep these creatures at bay, you devise a way to vanquish them forever.
Don't be afraid to pander to your audience. Once the controller is in their hands, it's not your story anymore. It's theirs.
Got it memorized?
The Little Things is powered by you all on Patreon. It's a series about game design that focuses on the games that nail one thing and shows how the rest of the game is made better by focusing on those little things. I'm also a big firm believer that I don't know everything. So that's why every week I make a post on Patreon so we can discuss together what makes a game great. I focused a bit on RPGs lately, so I want to do a complete 180 and talk about the Call of Duty franchise next week. It might be a little bit more negative than I want, but who cares? Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and until next time, it's been a pleasure.